Welcome to this classic edition of the Northeast Texas Game of the Week, featuring football, baseball, and basketball games of the high schools of Lamar County. We are digging back into our library spanning over 3 decades of high school sports to bring you some of the most exciting games of the past. We will be right back with this week's game.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
He makes me lie down in green pastures.
He leads me beside still water.
He restores my soul.
He leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake.
Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death,
I will fear no evil, for you are with me.
Your rod and your staff, they comfort me.
You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies.
You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows.
Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life.
And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Hello everybody and welcome to Buckeye Stadium in Gilmer, Texas. Saturday night's Class 4A bi-district playoff game between the Paris Wildcats and the Kilgore Bulldogs. I'm Greg Cunningham with Joe Eigelhart. And Joe, it's been a while for Paris getting into the playoffs, but for the school, the players, and the whole community, it's good to be back.
Greg, it's an exciting time of year for the Paris Wildcats. It's been a long time since 1990 rolled around, but here we are. We had an outstanding turnout at the pep rally last night. These guys was down on the field with them for the game and at the pep rally last night. They're awfully loose right now. They're not feeling any pressure. They know Kilgore is a very highly ranked team, but they're loose as a goose right now, and they're ready to play football tonight.
Let's talk about those Paris Wildcats. The Silver Crush came back last week against Texas High, and 2 outstanding performances by running backs for Paris, both Dion Hill and Donald Sims.
Well, they had over 350 yards rushing between them last week. That's just an outstanding performance. Anytime Dion Hill's running like he has been, Paris has got a chance. I might throw in this in. The field is very wet. It's saturated in places. There is virtually very, very little grass on the field. It's cut very short. It's very wet in the centers. It's bald in some spots. So the footing may not be very good. If you ask me, that's a detriment to Paris, but we'll just have to see how it goes.
And we'll be talking about those Kilgore Bulldogs just in a moment. Paris is set to kick off. That's Todd Rothfuss, number 7. The kicker for Paris. Set to kick away to number 1, Leon Wheat, and number 16, Bernard Smith.
Greg, let's hope the Wildcat special teams do a better job than they did last week. They squib it.
Fielded by number 5. You'll be hearing his name a lot. Jamar Toombs. He's a 245-pound senior tailback.
Well, Greg,
and Joe, what we hear is he's a very punishing running back.
He's a load, and he's going to be the focus of their offense tonight. They're primarily a running team. They don't throw a whole lot. They've been very successful, efficient-wise when they have thrown. They've got 10 touchdown passes, only 3 interceptions, but they are a running team, and they've been very good at it.
Coach Benton Raney says to expect a lot of multiple sets from these Bulldogs, but they will run most of the time. Handoff is to number 2, Kevin Mitchell. Not a whole lot there on first down.
He's met by number 9, Brett Callahan for the Wildcats.
Speaking of Toombs, number 5, he on the season 1,070 yards on 160 carries and 11 touchdowns. But for any running back with his ability, 245 pounds is going to be a load.
Well, he's a big kid. He really is, Greg. He's going to be tough to bring down. Wildcats are going to have to do a good job of tackling tonight.
And here's Toombs. Cuts it back inside. He's going to have the first down.
Greg Kilgore offensive line that time did a good job of getting pressure on the Wildcat defensive line. If you notice Toombs, he was kind of tiptoeing as he made that cut, so he's not real sure of the footing out there.
Kendrick Harvey, number 81, checks in for the Kilgore Bulldogs. Ball down on the 48-yard line. Quarterback will throw incomplete. Starting quarterback for Kilgore is Kyle Farrell, number 10. Bernard Smith checks in for the Bulldogs, number 52. For Paris, don't have his number available right now. Checks in.
Well, Greg, we might remind our viewers, Kilgore are the champions of 16-4A. They went undefeated through district and only lost 2 games in pre-district.
Toombs across the middle, gets across midfield for about a 3-yard gain. In fact, Joe, Kilgore has coming in 12 straight district wins.
Well, they've been very successful over the last 3 years. They brought a new coach in, Mike Valerie from Monroe, Louisiana, who had won a state championship over there, and he's done an outstanding job for the Kilgore Bulldogs.
3rd and 6, 4-yard gain on that carry. Farrell will throw.
Good.
Almost intercepted. The intended receiver there was Daniel Chappell, number 3.
Good lick. Good lick applied that time by Jason Exum.
That's a trait we've seen of several of those Silver Crush teams. They may be small, but they'll come and give you a lick.
Well, you can throw all the records out. Playoffs is a different season totally, and it's just a matter of who wants it more. They reminded everyone last night at the pep rally in '88, Paris was the underdogs in every game they played.
Dion Hill and Jermaine Tyson are back deep to receive this punt. Dion lets it hit off himself, and he's able to recover at about the 15-yard line. Paris pinned deep on their first possession.
We might remind our viewers, we've done the best we can setting up here at Buckeye Stadium, but our cameras are not in ideal situations, and there might be times we're on the Kilgore side, there might be times when a fan stands up to watch a play that it limits our ability to give you the play, so keep that in mind.
Chris Smith, the starting quarterback. Pitch to Dion Hill. Dragged out of bounds.
Greg, I was down on the field earlier before the game, and the Wildcats are on the end where it is very soggy, so especially running that cutback play, it's going to be very difficult to start one way and cut back another to get their footing.
Only a yard gained on that first drive, first carry.
And Greg, if you've ever seen AstroTurf and you know how high the grass is on AstroTurf, this is a natural turf field, but the grass is not much taller than AstroTurf.
Dion Hill. Not much again. Kilgore defense able to bottle him up. Something that Texas High was unable to do last week. 203 yards for Dion last week.
Well, but if you'll remember, Greg, Paris started off very slow running the football, but as time wore on, they wore the Texarkana defense down. I believe one of the keys for Paris, Greg, is going to be Chris Smith. I believe the Wildcats need to get the ball in Chris Smith's hands more and take advantage of his natural running ability.
3rd and about 5 for Paris. This is their first offensive possession. 9 minutes left to play in the first quarter. Roll out by Smith. Intercepted. Dion Hill brings him down at the 1-foot line. Number 30, David McGowan.
Well, Dion does everything. Dion says a touchdown that time. brings him down on the 1-yard line. Greg, I really believe Chris Smith could have run that ball and got the first down. He had some room. That's the kind of situation I like to see Chris in, where he's one-on-one with somebody. He's got just such quick moves and speed. I believe he could have made that one work.
Barrow brings the play in for 1st and goal. Full house in the backfield. Touchdown. Kevin Mitchell, 1 yard out. And we'll get to see a kicker that we've heard a lot about, Joe.
Well, I watched him during warm-ups. He was hitting consistently 45 and 50 yards on a wet field, I might add. Coach Rainey told us earlier in the week that he's very good on his kickoffs, kicks them in the end zone most of the time.
That's Daniel Chappell. Cesar Galvin with the hold. And it's 7-0 Kilgore with 8:43 left to play in the first quarter.
Well, Greg, I said before we started, I believe one of the keys for Paris winning this football game is to limit their turnovers. One of the common opponents that Kilgore and Paris have had this year was Mount Pleasant. Kilgore handled Mount Pleasant very easily, or I say very easily. They defeated them 13-12. Here's the replay of the touchdown. Cameraman Dan Vandenberg down there on the 1 yard line. Big hole. But of course, Paris lost to Mount Pleasant, gave up 57 points, lost 57-28. But the whole key to Paris losing to Mount Pleasant so badly was, I believe they had 6 turnovers, and they turned them all into touchdowns. Paris cannot afford to turn the ball over like that. They've got to play ball control offense.
Thomas Battle, Dion Hill, and Jermaine Tyson are back deep to receive. We have some new sponsors on tonight's game. We'll be sharing those with you as the game goes along.
Greg, it'd help to have a good return here from Dion.
Goes out of bounds at the 10-yard line.
Greg, the Wildcats are going to make them kick it over. Now the scouting report on this young man named David Chappell is that he does kick it in the end zone pretty frequently. He wasn't able to that time. Got a good crowd came over tonight from Paris.
A lot of traffic watching to go to high school football games as we made the trip down, I know.
Greg, and talking to some of the Gilmer officials before the game, they informed us that the front that has already hit Paris, the wind has not hit here yet. And that's one of the reasons that you can see the flag now is hanging very limp. It's pretty cool right now, but there's no wind, and that's making it very tolerable. But I understand they're expecting the front to come before this game is over with the wind.
This, of course, pretty much a home game for Kilgore, being only a 30-mile drive. About 85 miles from Paris.
I was
Gilmer.
A little concerned when we came down Tuesday to look at it if it would hold everybody from Paris. Well, Dion's going to get his chance.
Takes it straight up the middle. Finally bottled up at the 30-yard line. Alan Murphy is the first one to hit him.
That was a very impressive kickoff after a penalty. Paris gained a net of 1 yard by forcing them to kick it over. Greg, we might mention to the audience, Coach Rainey was talking to us about Kilgore's defensive front. They've got a very big defensive front. In fact, they mainly just line 4 people up on the line of scrimmage over the ball and drop everybody out. If you'll notice now, if you look at them, they've got 4 people on the line of scrimmage, no linebackers cheating up. They've got a very deep defensive secondary, but they've got enough size up front that they're able to do that. Coach Rainey seems to think that with our speed that we can take advantage of that. They kind of run the opposite of what our offense has run all year, Greg, where our offense is kind of lined up, said, here we come, stop us if you can, and they kind of line those 4 guys up and say, we're going to line up, stop you, and see if you can do anything about it.
An all-senior defensive line weighing in at 230, 220, 260, and 220.
We might mention to our audience that Kilgore's 2 losses this year were the number 5 team in Class 4A, Jacksonville. The other one was Class 5A, Nacogdoches. They've played a very tough defensive schedule, and they're a playoff-tested team. But we might also mention our players. Of course, this doesn't mean a hill of beans, but if history were to repeat itself, Kilgore was one of the casualties to the Wildcats in 1988 on the way to the state championship. Let's hope that holds true to form.
Dion Hill gets near the 35-yard line on first down.
Well, Greg, I believe the Wildcats are going to have to do their best to try to establish that cutback play, see if it's going to work. Run, cutback, and scat, and see if the turf holds up and they're able to make their cuts as they need to. You can see some divots there right behind the ball where they've already been cutting. The field is actually bare right in the center in several spots.
4-yard gain for Dion, and this is Donald Sims. We called him the Bull last week. He had 166 yards on 12 carries for a 13.8 yard per carry average against Texas High.
Well, Pooh Bear looked like a bull in China closet last week. He was just running over people right and left.
Donald gets about 4 more on that second down carry.
We have not seen the Cats run scat yet. Let's see how they do.
Here it comes, Joe. Donald Sims out in front. Dion should have the first down. He does.
First down by a good 1.5 yards. Greg, if you'll watch the Kilgore linebackers, they are very wide. They look like they are committed to stopping the scat play.
The scat play was still good for about 4 yards, good enough for the first down. Paris now on the 43-yard line. Donald Sims tripped up at about the 40-yard line, about a loss of 3.
Greg, that time Kilgore came up with a 6-man front. They brought their outside linebackers up to the line of scrimmage. They are committed to shutting down the Wildcat rushing game outside.
Call it a loss of 2 for Paris. Jason Exum and Andreas Dixon split out to the near side, and Chris rolls out looking to throw, but he tucks it back in and cuts back to the inside. Good hard running by Chris Smith, quarterback.
Well, Greg, that's what I was wanting to see. Chris is just so impressive with his running ability. Once he gets out there, Coach Rainey said earlier this week that he's super dangerous when he can get his speed up. It may take him a while to get going, but once he gets it up, he's very dangerous.
Third about 6 for Paris. 5:30 left to play in the first quarter.
Greg, watch the Kilgore linebackers. They're outside and they're charging quickly. There's a
scat throw is
Dion,
over the head of Dion.
Dion's in a heap of trouble.
Dion recovers and gets the ball back, but not before
Greg, the Kilgore linebackers are coming up outside and they're rushing hard, trying to cut down that scat play. And of course the bad pitch had a lot to do with that, but they've done a good job of stopping scat so far.
Just goes clean over his head on this replay. Dion.
My wife says it makes her nervous every time they pitch one like that. So.
Todd Rothfuss gets his punt, takes a Kilgore roll, and is down at about the 40-yard line.
Greg,
good field position for the Kilgore Bulldogs.
Wildcat special teams that time. 2 guys nearly let 1 guy come right up the middle and block a punt. They're going to have to do a better job on that.
Toombs hit by Callahan, and Callahan hangs on and waits for help and gets help, and they push him back.
Good job of penetration that time by Callahan. Holds him to about a 2-yard gain.
They're going to give Toombs about 2 yards worth of progress. And it's 2nd and 8. Pass is incomplete. Daniel Chappell, the intended receiver from the Kyle Farrow throw.
Well, Josh Bray gave him a lot of cushion that time, and had he been able to hang on to that ball, he would have had a first down. Farrow has had a good year throwing the ball. As we said earlier, he's thrown 10 touchdown passes with only 3 interceptions. His leading receiver has been A.J. Mumphrey, 13 catches for 225 yards. Farrow has thrown for 671 yards this year.
Looks to throw on 3rd down. Pass is incomplete again. Alan Murphy, the intended receiver, and it's 4th down.
Well, on a cold, wet night like this, it's hard to hold on to that pass is just drilled right to you. Those old fingers get cold, and it's kind of tough to hold on to that football at times.
First Baptist Church of Paris, one of our sponsors tonight, along with AAA Rentals, KPLT AM, and the new Star 107 FM. St. Joseph Hospital and Health Center. Tyson gets the ball and is drilled back past the 25-yard line. A few more of those sponsors, AAA Rentals. If you need it, we probably have it. R&M Body Works, 125 Southeast 3rd Street, called Gerald Riney. Discount TV and Appliance Center, Toyota of Paris, where promises are kept. Computer Super Center, Christmas hours 10 to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Famous Shoes in downtown Paris, and our old buddy Bailey Clements at Aramark Food and Catering Services, where you can contact Bailey at 782-0408. Dion Hill.
Greg, I ate lunch with my son at Aiken today, and Casey Gaines told me he enjoyed hearing us talk about Bailey and how good his good food. And Bailey did a good job of feeding us again today. Brought it all the way to Gilmer for us.
And he's up here in the booth again, keeping the stats for us.
Greg Kilgore started the game with those 4 down linemen, but they're bringing those outside linebackers right up on the line of scrimmage.
Dion with 3 yards on first down. 2nd and 7. A little misdirection, and Dion takes it up.
Dion's on the loose.
Has a first down and more. Yeah. Slips down at about the 45-yard line, but a good run by Dion Hill.
I believe if we'll look at this replay, if we have it, if Dion had zigged instead of zagged that last time, if he brought it outside instead of cutting back inside, he could have scored. Dion gets those moves going sometimes, and he just can't stop himself. But watch him here on this last one. I believe if he'd go outside right there instead of inside, I believe he might have scored. But anyway, first down and 10 for the Paris Wildcats.
Ball on the 46-yard line. 2 wideouts for Paris this time. Little misdirection. Donald Sims gets stood up by number 32, Waylon Hunt, but not after a good gain by Sims.
Oh, Greg, that play was successful that time because Kilgore dropped their linebackers back again and only had the 4 men on the line of scrimmage. Good hard run by Donald Sims.
What was even more impressive about Donald's performance last week, he was hurting.
Yeah, he had a bad ankle. He was favoring that ankle very noticeably, and just a gutsy performance by the whole team last week. There were several players hurt last week that really sucked it up and got after them.
Third and 3, Dion Hill. First down and more. Here he goes. Dragged down at the 5-yard line is Dion Hill.
Well, Greg, I tell you, he is a pleasure to watch. I was talking to J.T. Davis today, who is the unofficial official statistician for Paris High School athletics, and he was talking about Dion's ability. We might add, these playoff games, their rushing totals do count toward the school record for a season.
Here's that replay of the Dion Hill run. A lot of people hitting him, but nobody dragging him down until the 4-yard line. That's something that was so impressive last week, was the number of times he would be hit. We're going to take a little break here and come back right after this message.
My son has been drinking, and I think he's using drugs.
I just feel so ugly. I don't want anybody to see me.
I'm so sad all the time. I can barely get out of bed.
I just needed to talk to someone because I miss him so much.
Stand strong. No matter what you're going through, there is hope at the end of the line.
Focus on the family. How can we help?
Back at Buckeye Stadium. Paris has the ball, first and goal at the 4-yard line. Donald Sims fights his way for a touchdown.
Well, good guard run by Donald Sims. He just made up his mind he was going to move that pile, came in and just hit it and moved the whole pile into the end zone for a Wildcat touchdown.
The Bull gets 6 points.
Let's give the offensive line credit. They did a good job of firing off the ball that time.
Asa Turrell, Jeremy Winpetrich, Mark Johnson, John Grebb, and Courtney Gray. An extra point attempt. Rothfuss from the hole of Graciola didn't get it.
We got a flag. I believe we've got a roughing the kicker penalty here. Rothfuss is down. He is limping. So this is going to be a half the distance penalty, Greg. The Wildcats need to go for 2 points here. If I were Coach Rainey, I believe I'd go for 2 here. They were just very successful. The line, that last play where they scored, line did a very good job of just firing off the ball. And here comes Chris Smith into the game. Mason Crenshaw checks in for the Wildcats. Let's see if we have a scat play here and just race for the end zone. And it is.
Dion Hill with Mason in front. Doesn't get there.
Those linebackers shot the gap. The fullback that time, Greg, had 2 men to block, and he took the outside guy, and the inside backer was able to come up and make the play.
So Kilgore now with a 1-point lead. The score is 7-6.
Greg, I was talking earlier about my conversation with J.T. Davis today. He was telling us that these playoff games, the rushing totals do count toward the school record. Dion is probably some 200 yards short of Burrow Batty's school record set back in 1946, I believe. Here's Pooh Bear's touchdown. We might remind our viewers that Dion has put these numbers up in only 9 games this year. Paris played 1 fewer game than most people. Burrow Batty, when he set his record, set it through 11 games. Paris went undefeated during the regular season, Coach Davis said, but lost their playoff game to Highland Park. But he also said that Burrow Batty only played about half the game most of the time because Paris was winning by about 50 points in the first half. So it's a good rival. I mean, a good thing to talk about, the difference in Batty and Dion Hill. Batty, I believe we figured averaged about 127 yards a game, and Dion so far is averaging 143. Not to take anything away from either one of them, they're both great in their own respect.
Leon Wheat and Bernard Smith. Toombs takes this kickoff. Runs up the sideline and is finally knocked out of bounds past the 30-yard line with 1:08 left to play in the first quarter. Good drive that time for Paris.
It was a good drive. Talking about that kickoff there, Greg, I don't believe number 5 is the man that we want to handle the kickoff very often. I believe I try to keep that squeak kick away from him.
Toombs and Mitchell in the backfield, and this is Mitchell.
Great pursuit by the Wildcat defense. Strung the play out very well. Good job by Julius Martin and company then.
Jason Exum, Mason Crenshaw, Josh Embry also in the area. And it's 2nd and 9. Mitchell up the middle. Graxiola gets him.
We've got a very late flag thrown. Very late flag thrown. This is probably going to be against Paris coming that late.
And it is.
Five-yard face mask. Marked off will give the Kilgore Bulldogs the 1st and 10.
Ball on the 43. This will probably be the last play of the quarter. Toombs up the middle. That's the end of the first quarter. Kilgore has a 7-6 lead over Paris, and we'll be back to Buckeye Stadium in a moment.
had to pack up all my things. I had to leave my home. And I never knew where I was going next. It felt like I never even had a say. But then you came along.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at casaforchildren.org.
Kilgore Bulldogs at the ball, 2nd and 7 on their own 47-yard line. Paris just come off a good long touchdown drive. Their 2-point conversion failed.
Turnover out for the Wildcats, and they totally dominated the first quarter play.
Kevin Mitchell. Good running that time. He'll have the first down.
That's the kind of thing that the Wildcats can't do. They've got to wrap these guys up and bring them down.
First quarter statistics just handed to us by Bailey Clements. Dion, 54 yards this quarter. Donald Sims, 12 yards. Chris Smith, 6 yards. For Kilgore, Toombs, 18 yards, and Mitchell, 9 yards. This is Toombs on the right end. Misses tackles on the Paris.
Well,
defense.
Greg, the wet field came into play. Brett Callahan slipped and fell just about the time he was ready to wrap Toombs up, and he was able to get to the corner. Greg, talking about the first quarter statistics, the most important statistic to me was time of possession, and the Wildcats totally dominated the time of possession that first quarter. Kept the Kilgore offense off the field, and that's what they're going to have to do.
Kilgore in the middle of a good drive now, however. First down on the 26, Paris. Hand off to Mitchell. Good pursuit that time by number 87.
Julius Martin did a good job that time of grabbing a handful of jersey and just pulling him down. You get a wet field like that, it's hard for somebody to drag you very far.
Hand off to Toombs. That 245-pound guy has a touchdown.
Very impressive run by Mr. Toombs. He's a load, and you cannot arm tackle that sucker. You're going to have to wrap him up. You cannot tackle a big kid like that up high. You're going to have to get down low and hit those knees and knock them out from under him. But that was a very impressive run by Mr. Toombs.
Daniel Chappell with the hold of Cesar Galvin. Chappell is good, and the score is now 14-6 Kilgore. We should have a replay coming up on that Toombs touchdown.
Greg, one of the things that concerns me right now, I don't see a whole lot of life in that Paris Wildcat defense.
How many guys hit him?
Yeah. He just looked like a freight train going. The Wildcat defense is going to have to play with a little bit more enthusiasm. Let's hope the Wildcats are able to get a good return off this time, get some good field position. But we're probably going to get to see the leg of Mr. Chappell here, see if he can put it in the end zone.
Dion Thomas Battle and Jermaine Tyson are back deep to receive this kickoff. Tyson up past the 5-yard line. He cuts it back up the middle. It gets to about the 20. And that's what a good kicker can do for you, Joe.
Well, special teams is very important, and you keep the team inside the 20-yard line all night. That's just that much less work that your defense has got to do. Greg, the Wildcats need a good drive here. They need to eat some clock up and score some points.
Dion Hill.
I said,
not a lot on first down. He'll get about 3 on that carry. Brings up 2nd and 7.
I'm sure Coach Ronald Weiss, Paris' defensive coordinator, is over on the sidelines now making some adjustments with his defense after that last drive by Kilgore.
Smith changed the play.
Kilgore's in a 5-man front. Looked like Chris changed the play and took too much time in doing it. It's going to cost Paris 5 yards. Chris apparently saw that 5-man front and decided to change the play to go to something that might work better.
Second and 12 for the Wildcats.
4-man front for the Bulldogs.
Pitch to Dion. Gets across the line of scrimmage.
Well, that big defensive front, Greg, for the Kilgore Bulldogs is really holding their ground. They're doing a good job of clogging up that line of scrimmage. They have that 4-man front is very big for Kilgore. They're listed at 230, 220, 280, and 220.
Third and 9. 2 receivers to the far side. Chris will roll out. Throws through the arms of his intended receiver. It was number 42.
He hit TJ right in the hands. TJ wasn't able to hold on to it. Paris is going to have to make that kind of play if they're going to hang in this ball game. Now the Wildcat defense is going to have to step up big.
Todd Roth is pinned back deep. Bounces out of bounds at the Paris 45-yard line.
23-yard punt by Rothfuss that time. The Wildcat defense is put into a pressure situation, taking over on our own 44-yard line.
Two receivers to the far side for Kilgore this time. And it's Kevin Mitchell up the middle. Keeps running. Thomas Battle finally meets him.
Well, he hit Thomas Battle a pretty good lick, but Thomas held his ground and brought him down.
Not before about a 13, 14-yard carry. Another first down.
Yeah, Thomas Battle doesn't need to be making tackles that far down the line of scrimmage. We need to do a better job of keeping them from getting that far.
Ball on the Paris 32. Kevin Mitchell again. Toombs in front. Mitchell's going to score.
Well, Greg, I was just about to say, after that last run, Paris defense is going to have to suck it up because this thing's getting away from them, and they score on the next play.
20-6 Kilgore with a point after to come.
Kilgore offensive line is really taking control of the line of scrimmage here.
Chapel with a hold of Galvin. And it's good. 21-6 Kilgore.
Well, Greg, it's going to be imperative for the Wildcats to put together a good drive here and get some points.
Instant replay on the touchdown here, Joe. Toombs really just had to get out of the way.
Yeah, you know, Coach Rainey said earlier in the week that it was just going to be a simple matter of executing. And Kilgore's doing a good job with their execution right now. It's nothing fancy, really. It's just power football. But one of the things that the Wildcats can do to help that defense is to keep that Kilgore offense off the field. The offense needs to get a good drive going here and get some points. 7:52 left in the first half. Greg, one of the things that concerns me, I mentioned it earlier, I don't see a whole lot of life in that Wildcat team right now.
Good long return could provide a spark, though. Good kick. 8 yards deep in the end zone, and the Paris will start at their own 20-yard line.
Well, that's a very impressive weapon to have on your side.
Some of those sponsors for tonight's Northeast Texas Game of the Week include First Baptist Church of Paris. Call the information line at 785-6173. AAA Rentals. If you need it, we probably have it. KPLT AM and the new Star 107 FM. St. Joseph's Hospital and Health Center. R&M Body Works at 125 Southeast 3rd Street. Call Gerald Ronnie. And Discount TV and Appliance Center. Jermaine Tyson gets across the 25, down to about the 26 or 7.
Well, my own Booker kind of got in the way that time, and Dion ran right up his back, and it was brought to the ground by his own man, basically.
Some more of those sponsors include Toyota of Paris, where promises are kept, Computer Supercenter, Christmas hours 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and Famous Shoes in downtown Paris. Tyson again is wrapped up to the line of scrimmage. Good pursuit by the Kilgore defense. Number 90 for the Bulldogs wraps him up. Sid Ryder. And we don't want to.
Does have a first down on the play. Will move the chains.
And mentioning those sponsors, Joe, we can't forget our old buddy Bailey Clements at Aramark Food and Catering Services. You can contact Bailey at 782-0408. First and 10 on the 31 for Paris. Mason Crenshaw can't get around the corner, and it'll be second down.
Mason Crenshaw, the ball carrier. Jason Johnson makes the backup. We have no game.
Greg, the Kilgore defensive ends are really charging hard, making it difficult for the Wildcats to establish that running game.
Jermaine Tyson and Mason Crenshaw in the backfield, and this is Crenshaw. Same deal, trying to get to the outside, but can't get there, and it's 3rd and long.
Jason Donegan and Waylon Huss bring you down.
So Greg, Jason Jonigan for the Bulldogs came through untouched that time, brought Mason down for a yard loss.
Jason Exum checks in.
Greg, with the pursuit that Kilgore's running, a draw play might not be a bad call here. They're going to throw.
Almost intercepted. Donald Sims, the intended receiver.
Oh, Greg, that's the same play that Donald got his clock cleaned on last week in Paris. And Chris is just hanging that ball up just a little bit too soon, and that time the safety was able to come over and get in front of Donald. And we're very lucky that the safety didn't get that one and turn it into a touchdown for Kilgore.
Kilgore has an injured player still down on the field. While there's a timeout on the field, we'll take a timeout with a score 21-6 Kilgore. We'll be back to Buckeye Stadium in a moment.
God has called us to go into the world and to care for the dying, to care for those that are suffering. It's just what we do.
So many houses are collapsed. People are economically weak.
It felt like a freight train, honestly. It really did. You just felt the shaking. You felt the eeriness.
When things like this happen, we have to come together. We have to help each other.
Our marriage was broken. We were at the point of no return.
The pain was just growing stronger, and I felt like I was getting weaker by the day.
It's a dire situation. There is a great need for outside help to fill this gap for medical needs.
I was at my lowest point, feeling unloved, and God brought in shoeboxes and gave me hope.
We run to the fire, we don't run away from it. We're on a rescue mission, and we go in Jesus' name.
Welcome back to Gilmer. Punting time for the Wildcats. Bernard Smith back deep for Kilgore. Better punt this time for Todd. Gets Kilgore back to the 30.
We've got a clip coming up.
Returned it to about the 37, 38 yard line, but the penalty call to come. 5:19 left to play in the half.
That's going to back Kilgore up to about the 20-yard line from the spot of the foul. But the last thing the Wildcat defense can do here is surrender another score here in the first half. They've got to buckle up that chin strap and get after them here.
It'll be first and 10. Ball's going to be spotted at the Bulldogs 25.
Parents able to move the ball pretty effectively in the first quarter, but Kilgore able to shut them down in the second quarter.
Kilgore's made some very good defensive adjustments, Greg, and they've shut the Wildcats down here their last two possessions.
Jamar Toombs across the 25, maybe a gain of 2.
Be nice for Kilgore to return the favor here and give us a turnover down there.
Stay with us through halftime. We'll bring you the performance of the Paris High Blue Blazes band. They're on the track now, getting ready for their performance. Kevin Mitchell on the carry.
Greg Mitchell's a very impressive runner. He's looked very good tonight. Has 615 yards coming in, 5 TDs.
We're going to have a third and one.
We heard so much this week about Toombs that Mitchell almost gets overshadowed. But he looked good tonight. Tight end in motion on third down.
Ball is on the ground.
Flag.
I believe this is going to be a false start by Kilgore.
You're right, Joe.
Well, that's a big break for the Wildcats.
Puts the ball at about the 28-yard line. Brings up 3rd and 6.
That's a big break for the Wildcats. They need to make a hold here.
Pass is complete. Close to the first down.
I believe he's going to have the first down.
Daniel Chappell, the kicker, receives the ball on that pass.
And it is first down.
Oh, that would have been good to have them go 3 and out.
Well, I was watching them throw the out pattern in practice, and they throw that particular pass very well.
Alan Murphy checks in for Kilgore, number 9. He's the receiver on the far end of the sideline, far end of the field. Toombs, the fullback. Fights his way across the 40-yard line.
Well, Toombs kept his feet moving very well that time, and he slowly but surely moved that pile until he got 4 or 5 yards. Didn't look like he had anything, but when it's all said and done, they marked the ball. Toombs has a 5-yard gain. Clock is starting to become a factor here in the first half. 2:47 left.
Second and 6 for the Bulldogs. Toombs in motion. Pitches to Mitchell. He cuts it back. A little short of the first down. Paris thinks they have a fumble.
Jermaine Tyson trying to talk the officials into it, but it doesn't work. Kilgore has a first down. No, I believe they're going to say it's 3rd and 1.
3rd and about a foot, it looks like. With just over 2 minutes left in the half. Toombs and Mitchell in the eye.
Oh, another break for the Wildcats. We've got a delay of game penalty coming up against Kilgore.
Back them up 5.
That's an illegal procedure penalty.
Paris was showing blitz that time. Hoping to get a stop on 3rd down and get the ball back before the half. Clock now under 1:40.
Paris cannot afford to give up the big play here.
Drop play to Toombs. He's not going to get the first down.
Good job by Jermaine Tyson. That's what you've got to do with a big fella like Toombs. You got to get in there and hit him at his legs, and Jermaine was able to get in there and knock his legs out from under him.
Punting time for the Bulldogs. Paris will have a little under a minute to do something with it.
Daniel Chappell in confirmation. Dion Hill and Jermaine Tyson are feedback.
Jermaine takes it.
He's got a wall, Greg.
Flag.
But we're going to have to bring it back. Oh, this is a shame. This is a shame. This one's coming back. We've got a clip coming up on the Wildcats.
Flag down.
Well, that's a huge break for the Bulldogs, and really hurts the Wildcats. Clock is down to 34.7. Clock here at Gilmer Stadium has the tenths on it here once it winds down under a minute.
I don't think we've seen that at any of the stadiums we've been in so far.
No, we haven't. Joe. Well, I believe the Wildcats will probably be content to go in down 21-6. Last thing they need to do is try to get fancy and make a mistake here.
Ball on the 28.
However, we do have 3 wide receivers.
Draw play.
Quarterback draw.
Not a whole lot. Maybe a yard of gain of 1.
Well, I don't think we did a very good job blocking that time. Wildcats tried to spread everything out that time and take advantage of a shortage situation by Kilgore and just unable to do it.
Paris content to run out the clock.
Well, Coach Benton Rainey and his staff's going to have their hands full at halftime. They've got to pump these kids up, convince them they can come out here and take this thing.
That's the end of the first half. Kilgore up 21-6 over Paris. Stay tuned for these messages and stay with us for the halftime performance by the Paris High Blue Blazers Band. We'll be back in a moment.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
He makes me lie down in green pastures.
He leads me beside still water.
He restores my soul.
He leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake.
Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death,
I will fear no evil, for you are with me.
Your rod and your staff, they comfort me.
You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies.
You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows.
Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life.
And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
That hawk good. Like, gotta get some of that hawk off of you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for your halftime entertainment, proudly presenting the pride of Paris, the Paris High School Blues Ladies Marching Band. Tonight, the band presents classic big band music, beginning with the 2006 favorite, Caravan.
Giving a gift can change the world. The gift of emergency shelter changes communities. The signature blue Samaritan's Purse plastic is often seen after natural disasters, patching roofs or building transitional shelters. This heavy-duty plastic can keep a family safe from the weather until they have an opportunity to rebuild. This is how giving emergency shelter can change lives in Jesus' name. Give a shelter. Help change the world.
Buckeye Stadium in Gilmer. The start of the second half of play in this bi-district playoff game between the Paris Wildcats and the Kilgore Bulldogs. Greg Cunningham back with you with Joe Eigelhart. Joe, a tale of two very different quarters in this football game.
Well, the Wildcats did a pretty good job in the first quarter shutting down Kilgore's offense. Second quarter was a totally different story. Kilgore came out and totally shut the Wildcats down and control the time of possession, and it was just a simple case of total domination in the second quarter by the Bulldogs, and I believe you got some stats that will reflect that.
Speaking of Paris, talk of Dion Hill, 10 carries for 59 yards, only 5 yards in the second quarter. Donald Sims, 4 carries for 12 yards, no yards second quarter. Chris Smith 0 for 3 in the air. And for Kilgore, Jamar Toombs, 10 carries, 71 yards total, 18 in the first quarter, 53 in the second quarter. Kevin Mitchell, 9 for 69, only 9 in the first quarter, 60 in the second quarter. Farrow, only 1 pass completion in 5 attempts, a 6-yard strike to the kicker, Chappell, and he's done his part on special teams also, Joe.
Yes, he has. He's done a very good job of pinning Paris down deep with his kicks. Greg, the Wildcats have had about 3 mistakes that have been just critical. The interception early in the first quarter that set up the touchdown, the clip on the kickoff there toward the end of the first quarter, the end of the second half, and also the drop pass by T.J. Williams was a very big mistake for the Wildcats. But the thing, I guess, that has really disturbed me, I saw something in the second quarter, and that was the way Kilgore was able to take control of that line of scrimmage, and they totally dominated that second quarter, and looked like some of the Wildcats had their heads down, and first thing the coaches had to do in the halftime was to pump those kids up, tell them that they've got to come out here and win this thing. The second thing they've got to do, they've got to take control of that line of scrimmage once again.
Joe Bailey came over and told me that Chris Smith, who I saw limping along the sideline, is out. Don't know if he's expected to return. Paul Graxiola has been capable in relief of Smith at quarterback, what little he's had to this season.
I don't know what would have been wrong with Chris.
Dion lets it get away from him into the end zone, and now he brings it out. Waits for Thomas Battle to give a block. A late flag, may have been a hit out of bounds as Dion gets to about the 17-yard line, but let's see what the flag is. Personal foul on Kilgore.
Well, that's going to be a big break for the Wildcats because they were pinned down deep in their own territory.
And number 8, Paul Graxiola, comes in at quarterback for the injured Chris Smith. He needs to get the Silver Crush a couple of touchdowns.
Let's remember, Paul Graxiola was the starting quarterback for the Wildcats last year, so he's got plenty of experience.
Dion Hill. Good lick by number 32 of Kilgore. That's Waylon Hunt, 220-pound senior. Those down linemen doing the job for Kilgore tonight. And as we said in pregame, Joe, those 4 guys line up and say, come with us if you can.
Yes, they do.
2nd and 7 for the Wildcats. First drive of the second half. Graxiola under center. Pitch to Dion. Starts out left, cuts back, and gets to about the 40-yard line.
Well, Greg, this is kind of ball control that Paris needs to be doing there. They'll be happy to have 3rd and 1 all night long.
That cold front we were talking about has hit Gilmer. Flag is waving in the breeze now. 3rd and 2. Dion doesn't make it. Tripped up at the 40, and it'll be 4th down.
Greg, didn't look like we got the end block that time. Was able to come in and make penetration and get the stop on Dion. Wildcats needed a good drive to start the second half. It's not going to happen.
Bernard Smith back deep to receive this Todd Rothfuss punt. It's going to go out of bounds at about the 15.
Good kick by Todd. Greg, this is my opinion, but I believe this is probably going to be the most crucial play for the series for the Wildcat defense all night. They have got to shut Kilgore down. They hadn't shown any ability to do so in the second quarter, and they need a stop here to get some confidence up.
Good opportunity with Kilgore backed up deep at about the 20-yard line. Jamar Toombs. Big hole around the left side. He'll have about 8, maybe 9 on that carry. He's a load at 245.
Greg, that flag is really picked up now. It's not by any means a gale force wind, but when you get down in the 30s like it is now and get a little bit of breeze, it really gets that chill factor down.
Kevin Mitchell, first down at about the 33-yard line. Wide out to either side in this formation. First and 10. Now Mitchell steps back in the eye.
We've got a foot race.
That's a good run by Mitchell, but if we get a replay, we need to watch that block that number 5, Jamar Toombs, lays on Paris defender.
He did a very good job, sprung the play. You know, it's kind of a lot like Paris's offense. You get that lead block, things can happen, and they got the lead block that time, Greg.
Just backs up that Paris defender there. Just knocks him off his feet.
You know, Kilgore reminds me a lot of the Northmore Panthers in that you come in hearing so much about Toombs, kind of like Shannon Bostic, and then before you know it, Mitchell, just like Roy Allen has all year, is the one that's hurting you.
Toombs. Good yardage again. Eight-yard carry that time for Toombs.
Paris sent Mason Crenshaw on a middle blitz that time. Unable to make something happen with it. Greg, Donald Pooh Bear Sims is Limping on that ankle once again.
2nd and 2. Play action. The quarterback finally tucks it up and takes it across the 30-yard line. That's Farrow.
Greg Kilgore's having just a tremendous amount of success running the football right now, and I'm sure they're just wanting to throw a pass in every once in a while to try to keep the Wildcat defense loose. Donald Sims is limping very noticeably on that ankle. We need a good tackle, with a healthy tackle in there with this to try to shut this running game down.
Toombs. 1st down. Gets to about the 23.
Greg Pooh Bear's just doing everything he can to stay in this game. He's giving it 100%, but that ankle's just not holding up for him.
Toombs.
He will score
a touchdown. 27-6 Kilgore.
Well, Greg, I'm afraid what we're seeing right now is just a superior effort by the Kilgore team. I believe the Wildcats are giving everything that they've got, but I believe they're just flat out manned, especially up on the line of scrimmage right now. And you can coach all you want to, and you can give all the effort that you want to. But right now, we're just getting beat by a better football team, I believe.
Chapel's kick is good.
Greg, I just heard a report that Chris Smith was injured while warming up at halftime.
There's a replay of the touchdown by Toombs. Good block on Mason.
Greg Kilgore ran a lot that time to the left side, and Donald Sims, as we said earlier, is really favoring that ankle, and I just don't believe he's giving it everything he's got, bless his heart, but it's just that ankle's just not allowing him to play at 100%. Don't be surprised to see Mason Crenshaw in the backfield at fullback this time for the Wildcats.
Tyson Hill and Battle all back at about the 5-yard line. Good kick into the wind. Battle takes it up the middle. Oh, gets licked. And the ball's on the ground, and Kilgore takes over on the turnover. No. We'll take a break, Joe, and come back in a moment. Gilmer.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at casaforchildren.org.
We're back to Buckeye Stadium in Gilmer. We were unable to show you the first play. It was a quarterback draw by Paul Graxiola with good yardage. Paul gets it to the 30. And it'll be a Wildcat first down.
Nice run by Graxiola. He took a very deep drop that time, then came right back up the middle, broke a tackle, and was able to get a first down for the Wildcats.
Dion. Keeps moving, but finally is driven back. And those big 4 down linemen for Kilgore are doing the job for him tonight.
Yes, they are. Greg, we had a halftime score of Mount Pleasant 14, Carthage 7. So our fellow district member is doing well tonight against a very tough Carthage team.
The winner of this game will go on to play the winner of an Ennis-Cleburne contest. Halftime score in that game, Ennis 19-0 over Cleburne. I believe Ennis was the winner in that district. Graxiola's pass to Brett Callahan incomplete. In coverage that time was Chad Loper, number 31.
I believe that Cleburne-Ennis game is being played at Farrington Field in Fort Worth.
Third and 4. Little flea flicker. Grax goes long.
TJ's covered very well.
Incomplete. Punting time for the Wildcats.
Well, going's very hard for the Wildcats right now. They're giving it their all. Donald Sims is still out there. Bless his heart, he's giving it everything he's got.
Take just a moment to mention these sponsors for tonight's FBC TV Game of the Week. They include First Baptist Church of Paris. Call the information line at 785-6173. AAA Rentals, if you need it, we probably have it. And KPLT AM and the new Star 107 FM. Bad snap, but Todd gets it off. And takes a Paris roll.
Got a good roll by Rothfuss.
We'll take a break right now at Gilmer. We'll be back in a moment.
My son has been drinking, and I think he's using drugs.
I just feel so ugly. I don't want anybody to see me.
I'm so sad all the time. I can barely get out of bed.
I just needed to talk to someone because I miss him so much.
Stand strong. No matter what you're going through, there is hope at the end of the line.
Focused on the family. How can we help?
We're back in Gilmer. First play of this drive for Kilgore. Number 2. Decent yardage that time. Kevin Mitchell. Some more of those sponsors include St. Joseph's Hospital and Health Center, R&M Body Works, 125 Southeast 3rd Street, called Gerald Riney. Discount TV and Appliance Center, Toyota of Paris, where promises are kept. Computer Supercenter, Christmas hours 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Famous Shoes in downtown Paris. Joe, how can we forget our old buddy Bailey Clements at Aramark Food and Catering Services. Contact Bailey at 782-0408.
Greg, I see one of the coaches over there. One of the coaches just went and got Donald Sims and got him off the field. He is just really dragging that leg, and they just literally had to take him off the field.
Well, outstanding effort and heart by that senior. Flag. Five-yard penalty on the Bulldogs, illegal procedure penalty.
Clock is down to 3:48, Greg. Wildcats need to make a hold here. going to put the Kilgore Bulldogs in a 3rd and long situation. They're going to need about 5 yards.
Toombs on that carry.
You know, if Paris could make a hold and go down and get a quick score, they'd just be down 2 scores going into the 4th quarter, and that's a winnable game at that point. But Paris needs something to happen very badly. They need a turnover. They've got to get a break somewhere.
Remember, a few weeks ago, Paris able to come back late against Liberty Islo. So comeback's a part of this Wildcat team. Toombs on the carry. You're not going to bring him down trying to dive at his feet.
He's a load. He is a load. He's a very impressive back.
Sure, there's some college scouts out looking at this game. And he's one they're going to want to look at, I'm sure.
Greg Kilgore's looked to be a very disciplined team.
Full house showing for Kilgore this time. Toombs with carry. Up the middle, and he's going to score.
Oh, Greg, he can run too. Well, Greg, they ran the full house backfield that time and came back with a trap play, and it worked to perfection.
34-6 Kilgore with a point after try to come.
Well, Kilgore showing us why they are the champions of District 16 4A.
Chapel is good. Score now 35-6. See on that replay there that Toombs just takes it up the middle. And we'll take a break here at Buckeye Stadium with Kilgore in control. We'll be back in a moment.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
He makes me lie down in green pastures.
He leads me beside still water.
He restores my soul.
He leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake.
Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death,
I will fear no evil, for you are with me.
Your rod and your staff, they comfort me.
You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies.
You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows.
Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life.
And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
We're back in Gilmer. 2:14 left to play in the 3rd quarter. Kilgore with a commanding lead over Paris 35-6. Thomas Battle, Dion Hill, and Jermaine Tyson are back on the 5-yard line.
Greg, that's a very effective weapon that Kilgore has, that kicking game.
Going against that wind, getting it to the end zone. Daniel Chappell is only a junior. So the Bulldog kicking game should be consistent well into the next season. Dion Hill will split out wide to the far side this time. Mason is in motion. Grax throws to Mason over his head, and it'll be second down. Paris now wanting to just put some points on the board.
Yeah, Kilgore did a good job that time defending that play. Dion, however, was wide open over on the left side.
Draw play to Dion. He's going to be balled up.
Good play by number 92, Byron Jeter, for the Kilgore Bulldogs. Snuffing that play out.
Jason Exum checks in for the Wildcats. Brings in the play to Graxiola. Fakes pitch and goes long. Well overthrown. Intended for Exum that time. Wildcats will punt.
Well, Greg, Wildcats just aren't hitting on any cylinders right now. Nothing seems to be working. Kilgore's done a good job of shutting everything the Wildcats have down here in the third quarter.
Another good punt by Rothfuss backs up Bernard Smith. Smith able to recover and get across midfield.
Greg Todd Ross has done a very good job punting the ball tonight for the Wildcats. However, Kilgore will take over in Wildcat territory just inside the 50-yard line. Clock is down to 56 seconds left in the third quarter. Greg, you'd think Kilgore here early, getting ready to go in the fourth quarter. This game well in control has got to start thinking about resting some people. Last thing they want to do in this situation is get someone hurt. They've got to start looking forward to Ennis probably next week.
Full house again. Mitchell tripped up at the line of scrimmage and falls this way for maybe a couple.
Nice job by Michael Hayes that time for the Wildcats.
Michael, a sophomore.
A lot of sophomores on this Paris team. Even see some freshmen on the sidelines. They brought several people up for the playoff game.
Toombs. First down. Big, punishing running back. He's the kind of guy that can take you quite a ways in the playoffs.
He is. He's a horse. And don't forget Mitchell either. Mitchell's been very impressive tonight. We haven't seen much of of the quarterback. Haven't had to. They've done such a good job of throwing the ball tonight.
That's the end of the third quarter at Buckeye Stadium. The Kilgore Bulldogs have a commanding lead over the Paris Wildcats, 35-6. We'll be back in a moment.
God has called us to go into the world and to care for the dying, to care for those that are suffering. It's just what we do.
So many houses are collapsed. People are economically weak.
It felt like a freight train, honestly. It really did. You just felt the shaking. You felt the eeriness.
When things like this happen, we have to come together. We have to help each other.
Our marriage was broken. We were at the point of no return.
The pain was just growing stronger, and I felt like I was getting weaker by the day.
It's a dire situation. There is a great need for outside help to fill this gap for medical needs.
I was at my lowest point, feeling unloved, and God brought in shoeboxes and gave me hope.
We run to the fire, we don't run away from it. We're on a rescue mission, and we go in Jesus' name.
Welcome back to Gilmer. Buckeye Stadium is the scene for this bi-district playoff game between the Kilgore Bulldogs and the Paris Wildcats. Kilgore, if nothing miraculous happens, will move on in playoff action. First down play.
Sophomore Darius Hearn making the tackle that time for the Wildcats.
Leon Wheat, number 1, the carrier for the Bulldogs. I don't believe we've called his name on a carry so far this game. Kilgore, as you say, Joe, starting to put in some reserve people, rest those starters for next week. Hand off to number 6, Wildrick Williams. He's just a freshman.
Greg, we talked about the field earlier in the game, and our concerns about it, but however, it looks like the field has held up very well. That's one of the very few slips that we've seen tonight.
Saw Tim Jones in there. Checks out on first down. Wheat takes that carry.
Greg, I don't think it's too early to start talking about next year. Wildcats have an awful lot of skill people coming back next year.
Dion Hill, just a junior. I believe that's the same. That's also true for Chris Smith. Jermaine Tyson, the junior.
Dion will be setting his sights on that school record for career rushing yards held by Marcus Henderson. Should be well within his grasp.
In our discussion with Benton Rainey, I'm back on Tuesday, talking about next year. He did say, however, that he's got an offensive line to rebuild. Mostly seniors on that offensive line for Paris. Running back is Wildrick Williams.
Darius Hearn once again on the tackle. Paris brought a lot of the freshmen and sophomores up, bring them to this playoff game to give them some playoff experience, and what that does, that just gives those kids a taste of what it's like to be in the playoffs and makes them want to try that much harder for next year.
First and goal on the 8 for the Bulldogs. Full house backfield again. Hand off to the big fullback, that's number 40, Daniel Morris. He's just a sophomore.
Second goal from about the 2.
Touchdown. Wildrick Williams, the freshman, from 2 yards out. Daniel Chappell's extra point is good. Williams just right up the gut there, Joe. We'll take a break with an injury timeout. Score 42-6 Kilgore. We'll be back in a moment.
My son has been drinking, and I think he's using drugs.
I just feel so ugly. I don't want anybody to see me.
So sad all the time. I can barely get out of bed.
I just needed to talk to someone because I miss him so much.
Stand strong. No matter what you're going through, there is hope at the end of the line.
Focus on the family. How can we help?
We're back in Gilmer. You see the score there. The Bulldogs of Kilgore with a commanding lead over the Silver Crush. 8:38 left to play in the game. Kilgore and Paris both now in a position to use some reserves. Paris preparing for next year. Kilgore preparing to meet their next week's opponent, which, if the score holds, will probably be Ennis. Joe, I believe they were a winner in their district.
Greg, the wind's blowing hard enough now. It blew the ball off the tee before it could be kicked.
Chappell could really do something with the wind in his back. And no doubt he does. 9 yards back in the end zone, and Paris will start out on their own 20-yard line.
In case you're just joining us, Chris Smith somehow injured himself at halftime while warming up after coming out of the locker room. He has not seen any action here in the second half. It's been Paul Graxiola all the way.
Paul's a senior. This will be his last game in a Paris Wildcat football uniform, but look for him next spring on the baseball field. Thomas Battle takes the first down carry.
Thomas is an underclassman for the Wildcats. He'll be back next year.
It's a flag on the play.
Be a rare first down for Paris here.
15-yard penalty.
Well, we
whistle
just gave up 5 of our 15 yards that we got just a minute ago. We're going to have a motion penalty on the Wildcats. Illegal procedure. Well, Greg, I really don't believe there's a whole lot we can question tonight. I don't believe we can question the preparation, the effort by the coaches or the players. I believe Paris has just gotten beat by superior teams. There's times when you just have to tip your hat to your opponent, and I believe that's the situation here tonight.
Hand off to Josh Blake. Gets stopped initially, but keeps moving.
Well, he kind of looked like Dion Hill there. Got stopped, kept his feet moving, moved that pile, and broke out. Got some good positive yardage.
Josh He's just a sophomore. Dion. Graxiola in front to block. It's knocked out of bounds at about the 46 of Kilgore.
Well, one of the things Kilgore's been very successful in doing, they've brought many people over to meet Dion Hill. And that's one of the ways you can slow him down.
Joe, want to mention some of these sponsors that help us underwrite expenses on this broadcast for the Northeast Texas Game of the Week. We'll get to that right after this play as Dion checks out. Jermaine Tyson on first down. Some of those sponsors include First Baptist Church of Paris. Call the information line at 785-6173. Bailey Clements and Aramark Food and Catering Services. Call Bailey at 782-0408. AAA Rentals, if you need it, we probably have it. KPLT AM and the new Star 107 FM. St. Joseph's Hospital and Health Center. R&M Body Works, 125 Southeast 3rd Street. Call Gerald Riney. Discount TV and Appliance Center. Toyota of Paris, where promises are kept. Graxiola rolls out. Fires complete.
Thomas Battle. Greg,
good for a first down.
I'd like to ask our audience, if you happen to be watching this game at any time, if you see any of our camera people during the week, who would include Johnny Wright, Matt Young, Dan Vanderberg, Suzanne Worley, who am I leaving out? Suzanne Ash, excuse me. But if you see any of these people, pat them on the back and tell them that you appreciate it. They're sitting out in this cold wind, and it's a very uncomfortable job tonight. Greg and I get the privilege of being in the press box tonight, and some guys rest of the guys are in the trailer. They've got a heater down there, but those guys that are out there, and Suzanne, that are out there running the camera, it's a cold job, and they're out there doing it free of charge to try to bring this game to you, and pat them on the back, tell them that you appreciate it.
2nd and 10 for the Wildcats. Graxiola will throw, or wants to throw. He's going to be brought down behind the line of scrimmage for a sack. Two more of those sponsors, Joe. Computer Supercenter, their Christmas hours, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and Famous Shoes in downtown Paris.
Greg, as this game winds down, we need to recognize some of these seniors that have played so hard for Paris this year and for the last 2 or 3 years. Reggie Bonner, Kyron Etheridge, Jason Exum, Todd Rothfuss, Paul Graxiola, Brett Callahan, David Johnson, Mason Crenshaw. What a pleasure he's been to watch. Mason's probably going to be playing on Saturdays, hitting those books in between.
3rd and 12. Grax is in trouble, rolls out, short of the intended receiver.
Donald Pooh Bear Sims, what a job he's done all year. He's played hurt the majority of this game, folks, and just literally had to drag him off the field. Outstanding effort by him. Josh Hoover, Mark Short, Mark Johnson, Clay Kilo, Asa Truel, Courtney Gray, Ramon Booker, Jeff Easton. We tip our hats to these guys who have given us a lot of pleasure over the last 2 or 3 years, and we wish them well in the future.
Wildcats will go for it on 4th down. Draw play. Stuffed out, and Kilgore will take over on downs.
Good job by Byron Jeter, number 92 for the Kilgore Bulldogs. He's had an outstanding game tonight.
Joe, you were talking about that crew for the TV cameras. We've also got some people down in that trailer. Joe Worley does the instant replay. Gary Pirtle is the director. Dale Harris runs the audio. Jerry Rose is the character generator. He does the little box you see in the left-hand corner there. And John McFadden is our producer.
A couple of guys couldn't make it. Kim Wright, Russell Thrasher, Chuck Barron back home couldn't make it tonight. We appreciate the hard work they've done all year.
Ronald Striplin.
Absolutely. Of course, Bailey did our stats tonight.
And fed us, as he's done all year.
If you think you would be interested in joining our First Baptist Church production crew, you do not have to be a church member by any means. Call John McFadden at First Baptist Church. Let him know you're interested. 785-6431. You may not know anything about it, but John's a pretty good teacher, and we can break you in.
Joe, let's take a break right now with 3:24 left to play in the ball game. We'll be back in Gilmer in a moment.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
He makes me lie down in green pastures.
He leads me beside still water. He restores my soul.
He leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake.
Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death,
I will fear no evil, for you are with me.
Your rod and your staff, they comfort me.
You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies.
You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows.
Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life,
and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
We're back in Gilmer.
Greg, that's just how the Wildcats' luck's gone tonight. They finally get a fumble, and we did recover it. I was fixing to say I thought Kilgore recovered that one, but afraid this is going to be a little too late. Would like to invite you to join us for worship service this Sunday morning at First Baptist Church. Sunday school starts at 9:15, worship service at 10:30.
First and 10. A little confusion about who's going to be in the ball game. Paris has to burn a timeout with 2:50 left to play in the ball game. Been talking to the Buckeye Stadium timekeeper that's sitting here next to me, Joe. I keep trying to tell him to just let the clock run. It's cold, and Paris is down by 36, and we know what the outcome's going to be.
Well, a lot of these kids can go lace up their old basketball sneakers and start the Charlie Martin era basketball regime at Paris High School. Our producer John McFadden tells us there's a good possibility we're going to be doing Wildcat and Panther baseball this spring, possibly on a limited basis.
There's pass is intercepted. That's number 9 for Kilgore. He keeps on his feet. Not going to make the touchdown, though.
We've got a flag. Thomas Battle came over and laid a pretty good lick on him. But this one's going to come back. We've got to have a block in the back, I believe, here on about the 37-yard line. John McFadden also tells me that we're looking at experimenting, possibly doing Little League baseball in the spring. Go out to Woodall Field, give you an opportunity to see your young ones play ball. They play some pretty good baseball out there at Woodall Field.
Also learned this week, Joe, that there's a good possibility that the broadcast crew, when they're at Noyes Stadium, will get to move to the home side of the field.
Yes, we spoke to Coach Rainey this week, and for all you people that have been complaining over the years about the backsides of your daughters in the Blazettes and in the band, I believe there's going to be a real good chance that we're going to be on the home side next week, and we appreciate the efforts of the Paris High Athletic Department in allowing that to happen. By being on the home side, that will allow you to see the front sides of your children, since they face the home side every night. So we hope to give you better halftime coverage, a lot better camera shots. We want to warm those VCRs up.
Joe, it'll be interesting to see next year. Paris coming back, of course, but the crosstown rivals, North Lamar, what they might be able to put together. Just not quite making the playoffs this year, but you can't rule them out for next year.
Well, they had an outstanding year. Of course, they've got two big holes immediately that they're going to have to fill, in the name of Roy Allen and Shannon Bostic. But I'm sure Coach Tommy Felty and his crew have able people coming up that will be able to jump in there, and I'm sure after the Panthers ended the season on such a high note, winning their last 2 games and just missing the playoffs, that they're going to be ripping and raring to go come fall next year.
If I'm not mistaken, that was their best season since they've moved up to 4A back in 1986. They were 7-3, 2-3 officially in district.
A lot of enthusiasm on the north side of town.
I want to congratulate North Lamar on that fine season. It was a pleasure to bring those games that we did for the Panthers to you.
Well, and we're going to end this game here on a sour note with Paris being eliminated from the playoffs here. But man, these Paris Wildcats have had an outstanding year. They have fought through all kinds of adversity. Let's not forget they started district play at 0-2 and came back and won 3 very tough games to qualify for the playoffs. They didn't just back into this; they won it outright. Finished second in the district, and they have had an outstanding year.
Joe, I remember during the game down in Sulphur Springs, when we started that game, we thought that we were going to be seeing the 2 teams that was going to challenge for the district crown. Paris makes it in the playoffs as a runner-up. Sulphur Springs was eliminated, yes, not able to make the playoffs. So you have to play them. You don't really go by what the sports writers are going to tell you.
And we talked to Coach Rainey. Paris is going to have some good games next year. They're going to play Atlanta. Jesuit going to get Hooks in here to play us. And they're also going to be playing the Gilmer Buckeyes, who happen to play in this stadium right here. And one of the Dallas teams, I believe he said, was going to be on the schedule.
Well, it's been a fun season, Joe. This is the last play of the game.
Well, Greg, this is my first season to call football. I tell you, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot. But the Wildcats and Panthers have given us a thoroughly enjoyable football season this year, and we invite you to come back for more next year.
Kilgore moves on in the Class 4A playoffs with an impressive victory over the Paris Wildcats, 42-6. For Bailey Clements, Joe Eigelhart, and our entire crew, this is Greg Cunningham saying good night from Buckeye Stadium in Gilmer. We'll be back next season.